I am an accountant for a petrochemical firm stuck in a city under siege in the Middle East. My name is Jason Falkland, and this is Siege Radio. I am coming really close to killing myself right now. Things have happened in quick succession this week. Things that I will share here. I'm disgusted at myself, the things I've done. If hell does exist, I'd rather be put there, because this place is worse. Doctors Without Borders were ordered not to come here anymore. This place is too dangerous. That live beheading didn't do very well to change the minds of the international community. The UN peacekeepers aren't coming either. The city has been left to die on its own, and I am certain that my death will be viewed by millions. I can already see the unrest on the street. Children are begging for food. At every passing resistance soldier, I distinctly remember a gunshot a few days ago while I slept. This wasn't from the front. This was the first bullet of the inside turmoil. I also ran out of food 2 days ago. I've starved myself, but now there's simply nothing to eat. When the resistance came to sweep my room, as they usually do, I told them about my need for food. They asked me for $1,000 for a carton of food. All of it paid up front. So I paid up. I know they might not ever get me the food. What else can I do? I don't have any other options. I complained about this $8 sub that I had while I was at the airport, just before I got here. It sounds so good right now. I wish I had one. I would gladly eat that right now, especially for that price. The soldier I handed the money to came back the next day with a surprisingly heavy 1.5 feet carton. Then he left as soon as he could. I noticed a blue logo on the side. UNICEF. This must have been the last batch of the humanitarian aid this country received a month ago. The date on the box confirmed that. I was scared. I opened the box, and what I saw disturbed me. Inside the box were 6 cereal-shaped boxes, plain white, with the words "Baby Food Compound" printed on it. This food was for an infant. Food that I took. World War II was the single greatest loss of life in a war in human history. I actually had an entire lecture on this back in college. Not once in a book about the World War was a loss of life mentioned. No, I'm serious. The book focused on the real and important knowledge. The greatest conflict in human history has been written off as nothing more than just a very bad thing for business and trade. Even thinking about that, just referring to the war in monetary terms, it disgusts me. The war I'm witnessing is but a fraction of what a front in one of the many battles of the World War II looked like. What will my firm do when they hear about my passing? Or worse, when they see a live stream of it? Oh no. The beheading of Jason cost us X amount of dollars. Well, how do we replace him as cheaply as possible? Who's got an idea? You? Disgusting. After the World War ended, Garrickson lay in complete ruins. Any infrastructure that existed, ruins. Food was short, disease was rampant, but also the interesting bit is, the news of this had never reached American or European media, and if it did, why? It was just nicely packed away into a corner. The discovery of the horrid living conditions and the treatment of locals by oil extractors was not only despicable, it was silenced. Silenced for half a century. The discovery of this wasn't a decade ago, when the historians researching this place broke the news. No, it was actually a piece of news that was 50 years old, in the Middle East. It got no attention, and it was just simply swept under the rug. Not from me, of course. I study this in geopolitics. But still, you can't help but think of how messed up this system is when we read about misery only to maximize profit. This land had now been under the foot of oppressors who had for the longest time used the freedom and liberty chip to get to wars and profit off of it. The thing is, we Americans, we never stopped. When we talk about the mess in the Middle East, not only is it our fault, along with the other allies, it's a fault that was sustained for an exceptionally long period of time. I mean, there's only so much a person can take before revolt, you know. Now, the European war machine was charging up again, and Garrickson Gerikston knew that was coming. This was the silence before the storm in World War II. Another crazy dictator, forged in a previous war, was on a warpath that could very well lead to the end of our civilization as we know it. Carl Sagan once said, "The nuclear arms race is like two sworn enemies standing waist deep in gasoline. One with 3 matches, the other with 5. I find myself agreeing to that. Nonetheless, Gerikston was, and continued to be a commodity. Some spot in the desert just to haul oil from. And it would be that way until the nuclear winter arrived. As is with all people in all cultures, and also was with the inhabitants of Gerikston, they wanted these suppressive boots off their country. And the Cold War was coming. They wanted to rebel, and that rebellion would come in a nice, lovely shade of Soviet crimson. The next time I see the resistance, I'm going to try and bribe them. Bribe them to sell me a gun. It's not safe here. I'm feeling unsafe here. I need to defend myself. Somehow. I'm recording this transmission in hopes that someone, somewhere will pick it up and get me out of this war zone. I am Jason Falkland, and this is Siege Radio.
Siege Radio is a production of Harsh Gupta and Lance Talbert for Siege Radio Productions. We are an independent 2-man team that produce storytelling podcasts which will remain free forever. Want to help the show? Head on over to patreon.com/Siege Radio. That is patreon.com/SIEGERADIO. Thanks.